Baylan Skoll bought himself a sweet coat. Ezra gets a haircut randomly, and season 1 of Ahsoka is over. Pop Tot, what did you think of this season?
Well, how many F-bombs can I drop right now? Just besides Kenobi, is a little hot and cold, but this series is both love and hate. This episode, all this cool stuff in it. And then there's all these what the F moments.
Yeah.
And I'm just, oh my God, what happened to the writing in this show? Okay. So we had, the 3 getting to Thrawn's ship, and we find out that the Night Troopers are not dead. They're in fact alive until, of course, the Night Sisters made them into zombies. So we had stormtrooper zombies.
This ever happened before?
No.
And especially those dark troopers when they got his face show blowing off and you could see his like mouth. I was like, oh, that was pretty scary imagery.
They turned Morgan into a full sister, and then of course Thrawn basically sacrifices her, which kind of felt like it was going to happen anyways.
We require a little more time.
So there's a lot of this cool stuff in there, and I really enjoyed it. And then the last 15 minutes was like,
what?
I guess my brain thought for some reason that this was just going to be a one and done thing.
What an idiot.
And then halfway through it, which is, I'm sure somebody's right in the comments, Nader Tot, you're an idiot. Like, of course, they're going to have 16 seasons and 32 spinoffs. And it's like, maybe I should have known that. But I'm like, we're like halfway through, and I'm like, nothing's going to get answered then. No, there's not going to be any sort of conclusion whatsoever. And there wasn't at all.
Even worse, with the death of Ray Stevenson, we're never going to get that wrap up. Shin shows up in front of the tribal people.
Yeah, she did the Paul Atreides thing from Dune. I didn't understand that. I was like, wait, what does this mean?
Here's my lightsaber, and it's like, does it mean she's going to be the leader of them now?
The shiny toy I have. I don't.
Oh, would you look at that? That's like magic.
I definitely agree. There's a lot of things where I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like the choreography and a lot of the stuff they did was, in terms of the action sequences, was really cool. I actually really did like the fight with Morgan and Ahsoka. I thought that was really cool. One of the big frustrations right off the bat was this entire season we've had this undercurrent issue between Ahsoka and Sabine that was never explained or really addressed.
I haven't seen her in years, and the first thing I do goes sideways. You're both difficult.
And it was addressed in a 2-sentence throwaway line from Yang talking to Ezra.
Your family?
We're all lost, sadly. At the time, Ahsoka felt that if Sabine unlocked her potential, she would become dangerous.
Screenwriting 101, do not do is you do not say instead of show.
At the end of the war, the Empire purged the entire surface of the planet, killing hundreds of thousands.
It's like, wait, we've had all these episodes to address this. We're going to address this in the finale?
What did I miss?
Ahsoka became afraid that Sabine was training as a Jedi for the wrong reasons after what happened on Mandalore.
Then again, we had a cool part of that was that he basically rebuilt Kanan's lightsaber.
Yes.
And it made reference to Kanan.
I had 2 of those. Kanan took the one, the other I held onto in case he ever needed it. It is proper that you should have it.
I was glad they finally mentioned him. Like, oh, there he is. They mentioned his master, one of the most important pieces of Rebels. They finally mentioned him.
Who taught you how to build a lightsaber anyway?
Kanan Jarrus.
Is that so?
Yeah. He was my master.
The big thing here is Sabine and Ahsoka get left behind. Ezra makes it onto the ship. Thrawn, they're chasing him out into space, and Thrawn does this.
I know you.
because I knew your master.
There was nothing in his strategy that said he was one step ahead of her. All he basically did was take the ship off. He was not one step ahead of her.
No,
he was just basically like an hour ahead of her. Again, the MacGuffin here is Thrawn himself, and I'm like, I've not seen anything that says he's some sort of mastermind.
To play into that, he lost every skirmish, if you will.
The Jedi are advancing swiftly. At this rate, they may get on board the ship, which would be problematic. These are unfortunate, but acceptable losses given the absence of Lord Balin.
Thrawn is this basically super weapon MacGuffin, but he lost almost every battle he's in. He got all this cargo that I don't believe was ever explained what that was, and he's on a Star Destroyer that's basically on its last leg anyway. So I'm like, what kind of threat does he pose? And this is, and somebody's going to be like, well, you know, then he's going to have all this time. It's like, this dude has Night Sisters at his disposal.
And he shows up in front of Dathomir. I figured he would show up and all those people that were in those, you know, the remnants of the Empire that were conspiring together. And I think it was Mandalorian. But no, he went to Dathomir for whatever is in those crates. We see a shuttle show up.
Yeah.
One of the ships, the good guy ships, the Alliance ships, and Hera and all the troops come out, and here comes the stormtrooper. And right away, you're like, oh, that's got to be Ezra. And it was Ezra, who suddenly got a haircut. He just like...
Ezra?
Hi, Hera.
And it like there was no, how did you get off the Star Destroyer? How did you?
I'm like you're talking about. I will say that about Thrawn is the entire time they show this like RTS command and conquer level of strategy where he's naming off units and this and that.
Recall the gunships, call off the aerial pursuit, withdraw the fighters, and have them stand by. 2 squads will suffice.
And it's like, wait, so you wouldn't realize a ship got off? Your resources so limited already?
What?
So we have all these cliffhangers. Chen taking over these whatever you call it, scavengers. You have Ahsoka and Sabine are stuck on the planet with the little pod people, and Ahsoka is doing a lot of smell the fart acting, staring at what you figured out was Anakin's ghost. And then of course you have now Ezra's home, and it goes back to the question I asked: how does this play into the sequels with the Resistance and the First Order?
Not a connection whatsoever.
Where's Thrawn feed into all that? Where's all Ezra and Hera and all?
Well, and I think the other problem I have too is I don't know that there was any sort of character arc for any character in this season whatsoever. I don't feel like
just Sabine. She figured out how to use the Force.
I guess Sabine was kind of, you know, a rugrat, if you will, and she was, you know, had her hair long and was screwing around and all that in the beginning, and then eventually she used the Force, which I kind of liked the explanation that she could kind of use it, but clearly wasn't fully wielding it because she didn't see Anakin. She could kind of feel him.
I felt like
I liked the way that entire scene was handled, and I will say I did for some reason get overly emotional when I saw Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost for some reason. I don't know why, but overall, what would you rate the season finale of Ahsoka season 1?
I'd say there's enough here to make me happy. I'll keep it at a C+. There's just, with all the stormtrooper fighting and the choreography and Sabine finding her way, I really do enjoy Sabine's character more so than anybody on the show for some reason, even Ezra, really. Overall, I enjoyed the episode. It was just that last 10 or 12 minutes, just the wrap up, and it's like, like you said, there's just like no urgency. It's like, okay, well, here we are.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be a C+. I could maybe stretch to a B- because I did really enjoy the way some of the things were handled in terms of the action, the setup with the zombie stormtroopers, and then the whole fight on top of the thing with creepy imagery was pretty cool. This entire season was just very muddled. I don't think there was an entire concise point and I don't feel like characters really evolved outside of maybe Sabine, like you said, and there's a lot of loose ends, and so I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but I'm also a little frustrated. But I'm really curious to see what people think. You know, already the buzz looks pretty positive, so be sure to let us know what you think in the comments, and where do you think we go from here, and we will see you guys on the next one.